the first meeting of the new Kāwhia Community Board open. Can I just confirm that we're streaming, Dave? Great. Could I call on Cassidy for the opening karakia? Moving on to apologies, there's been no apologies received, has been everyone's here. And they now move on to the making and attesting of the declaration of the Community Board-elect for Dave Walsh.
I, Dave Walsh, declare that I will faithfully and impartially, and according to the best of my skill and judgment, execute and perform in the best interest of the Atoll District the powers, authorities and duties vested in or imposed upon me as member of the Kāwhia Community Board by virtue of the Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Official Information and Media Act 1987 and any other act. Thank you to our community for the support we get from all your people, and a lot of use my whānau a little bit, but I think the rest of you as my friends, so fully appreciate all the support you give us.
Thank you, Max. Thank you, Dave. Dave, I'd just like to take the opportunity to acknowledge your service as chairman for the last trimester, and thank you for the ease of transition and the help you've given me to move into the role. I know you've got some busy times ahead of you with your hard mahi up there at the sports club that's coming your way. So thank you for the help and support you've given me to ease into this role. Thank you, Dave. Any late items? No, there's no late items. And I now, with the board members would have read the reports. Are there any declarations of conflicts of interests? No. And now we move on to the service acknowledgement. This Councillor Kit Jeffrey is going to assist me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, look, it's not always a pleasant duty this to say farewell to two members of our community who served our community so well over so many years. And I'm talking about Linda Wicks and Pauline Lillman, both of whom have been faithful servants to us at the library. Linda for 15 years or so, and I understand retired before Christmas, so you get a little bit of break. And Pauline has been a volunteer for something like 22 years And I understand with some sadness that we're here that you and Mr. Leon are shifting away from the area, so that makes it even more a sad occasion. But anyway, Pauline's involvement actually allowed for the opening of the Saturday morning library sessions when she was there, and both of them are going to be a great loss to our community. So I just wanted to acknowledge the service that Linda and Pauline have given us, and say thank you both so much on behalf of the community. So we have a presentation to make to both of you, and if you'd like to have a few words yourself, you're very welcome to do so. So Linda. Congratulations. Thank you very much for everything you've done.
Kāwhia. I thoroughly enjoyed living here, but health issues have made me leave town, so hence I retired. But thank you very much. It was lovely.
Well, Michael and I moved permanently down here from Auckland, and people said to us when we came here, can I come to Auckland? Okay, I said, well, not all Aucklanders are the cafe and latte jet set or not. We spent most of our working weekends and holidays getting out of Auckland and going to other places. And we always liked the West Coast. We were trampers in Auckland, and we used to go out to Kāwhia, and all those areas. So we always had a hankering for the West Coast. So one year we came down to Kāwhia. It was September. It was miserable weather, and it was absolutely miserable. I said, not too sure about this. But another year we came down in February, stayed at the Seascape Photo Camp. I thought, this looks a little better. So we made the decision to think about retiring to here. So we did. We ended up booked at Thatcher's, the wedding for sale in those days. And so we then found ourselves a section right up top end of Kāwhia Street and built a house. And used it as a holiday place for a long time until we moved down here 22 years ago. But I am actually a librarian, and I started to work in the Auckland Public Library, I think, in 1960. And my last 9 years were spent at the Auckland Art Gallery Library. So it was nice to come down here and see all the art interest down here too. So one of the first things I did when I came down here is, right, what can I do? This would be as a volunteer, seeing time to work, and the library was one of the things. So I volunteered to be in the library, and thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah.
We're pleased you did.
Yes. So thank you very much for both. No, it's been wonderful. We're going to be very sad to leave here, but with our age and with services and that, we just feel that I don't drive, so if something happens in life that you drive, it means just stuck a little bit here. So we're making the move. And unfortunately, in some ways, we're moving to Thames.
Oh.
And we're leaving the West Coast, which doesn't get the grotty weather as much as everybody else, and moving over to the other coast. But we've always liked Thames, we've always liked the coast up there. So that's where we'll ultimately be. The house is still under construction. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I should have mentioned that Heather, our librarian, sent her apology today. She couldn't be here, but she wanted to be both. Thank you. And just to let you know that Annette McGregor is taking over the role of librarian here. Annette's out from Aotea, and next Tuesday is her official start date. And there's going to be some small adjustments to our opening hours here too, I understand. They will be advertised on the the library, the Kāwhia Community or Kāwhia Connection Facebook pages and the Patreon website. And I think the adjustment, correct me if I'm wrong, that is that the adjustment in the hours has been made to make it a little easier for the school children to actually access the library. So that's a good move. So, the opening hours will be advertised, and there'll also be some posters put up around the town just to let people know what's happening there. Saturday the 11th of February, they're reopening for the first time on a Saturday since the first lockdown, so it's been 18 months since the library has been able to open on Saturday here. So spread the word, library's going to be open on Saturdays from the 11th of February. So with just those few words, but I'll just say thank you again, Linda and Pauline, and I wish you both the very best. Thank you.
Yes, and just on behalf of the Kāwhia Community Board and the Kāwhia community, thank you for your service. You've always been smiling faces at the library there. My wife is a great customer of yours, and you know, when you courier books and around for her and things like that, you ladies do a great job there. And Annette McGregor, I know she's got some big boots to fill, but I'm sure she will. Thank you. And just moving on now to the public forum sector of the meeting. Now these are going to be important things, I think, for Kāwhia over the next 3 years. With the concept plan that's heading our way, these are going to be important methods for getting the community's feeling and ideas across to us. Okay, so we'll start off with Kelly Isherwood. No.
Kia ora tātou, Kelly Isherwood anō. I'm part of the Kāwhia Mobile Market. I have been for the last 15 years, I think it's been, 18 sorry. I'm basically here with some members and my friend David, who is part of the kaupapa for Movie Tindana. And we've been having a bit of trouble with the hall, community hall, and hiring a hall. I just want them to help. I'm just a bit nervous at the moment.
Don't be nervous, Kelly. Okay? You're never short for words normally.
Yeah, no, I'll understand I am.
Yeah, I'm Linda, and I am the coordinator of the Movie Tindana Festival that has recently been postponed for the 4th of March. Thank you for your time. So I've come to Tauta for Kelly because I've been having a look at the Otahuanga District Council vision, values and the outcomes of what the council is wanting to achieve. And obviously I don't need to tell you what those are, but there has been some issues, and I'm only new to the district, and it's a shame that I've had to go through this as well. But it was about what I'm here to find out is the caretaker of the community hall a contractor, or is it administered by the Otahuanga District Council? If so, what are the systems to hire the hall? Also, if there could be a review of costs, I find $80 an hour quite extreme, especially when we are talking about accessibility, affordability and availability to our public venues that belong to the community. I understand if it is a contract, then the caretaker of that contract is the one that should put those things in place. I also manage the Waipā District Council public properties, and I am a contractor, but I still am governed by the Waipā District Council, and I have systems in place for hiring out, for actually the amount that it costs, and to report back, and a booking system to confirm the booking. So for me, I could not find any of that in the last 2 months when I went onto the website to see how that goes about. I've also checked some of the meetings over last year from this board, and I haven't seen anything mentioned about the community hall. So I think that if I was looking at the vision and the values and the outcomes, I can't see how the community hall fits into that when we are supposed to be looking after the community's interests. So I've also noticed on the Kāwhia connection, lots of people asking, how do I get the hall? And that's disturbing to me, because if it is an asset that's belonged to Otahanga District Council, I would assume there would be some contact details. You know, that might be just something that we might just need to restructure. So my point about it all is that maybe it requires a restructure, and where you want to go with making this available, affordable, and accessible, because that way we might make the people in our community a lot more happier. I moved here in April. I bought a property here, so I feel okay to be talking about these things. And just two more things, sorry to take up all your time, but it's my only opportunity. I did ring up to see if I could make a regular booking to use this facility to bring kids and rangataki in here for regular exercise, and unfortunately I was told I had to make that each week as I wanted it, but I saw that as revenue long term. And the second thing was a booking system that got lost when I booked this hall on the 1st of October for a community event, and then we put all the facilities in place that we wanted here, to be told 5 weeks later that, apology, that it had been double booked, and that only the front was to be used. I did ask if I could use this part, but apparently the protocol is that only one part of the hall can be hired at a single time. So I just wondered if I could just put to the board if you would mind looking at that whole structure, reviewing it, and see what we can come up with that works for the whole community perhaps. And I'm sure there's many people that would be happy to take on the role if it's become too much. Kia ora.
Also on that note, I have an event here with Māori Whakawhiri. My president had rung up for the key 2 days before the event that we were having in here, so that the Māori Whakawhiri could come in and set up, where my president was told, sorry, there was no booking. So for me, there's no transparency, and when we book the hall, there's no confirmation given back to us to say, your booking has, been confirmed, this is your date. There's nothing like that. You ring up to a landline, there's no emails, there's nothing there. So for me, I think you need to restructure the person that's taking care of this thing. Also, cleaning equipment that we've had to use. My 92-year-old grandmother was told to get a broom to open the louver windows. Now she's 92, and to stand on the chair. Safety comes first for us, really. Was there anything else? Oh, yeah, so for me, the hall, yes, needs restructuring on getting someone else, I suppose. Take over, like a librarian, maybe. Also, my other point is the barbecue area.
Yeah.
Out there, if you could just have a look at it. Needs a bit of a makeover. There's no seating out there for people to sit and eat after they've done their barbecues, and there's really no bench space for you to sort of... Anyway, I think that's me for now.
Lovely. Thank
you.
Lynn, Kelly, thank you. Board members, have you got any questions you'd like to ask Lynn and Kelly?
I've just got one comment. I know that Mrs. Alsby raised the issue of heaters in the hall back in August last, and I think that's been recorded in the minutes, but I don't think, now that you mention it, I don't think anything's been followed up on that. So
also a refrigerator for our milk. There's no refrigerator in the kitchen for us to put cold stuff in. So we've been told that the person who looks after the hall is that they were told that you don't plug in the fridge, pull out the plug it in every time you use it. Well, we do that at the marae, and our fridges are fine. So maybe look at the chiller or something for the double door fridge.
the other issue was to do with the barbecue, Kelly, and I think we have had this discussion before, not necessarily with you, but I think we decided at the time that with the review of the Kāwhia and AOT concept plan coming up in the next 2 or 3 months, that it was probably appropriate to leave it so that we can have a look at the whole thing as opposed to a piecemeal approach to things. So it's definitely on the radar. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Through you, Mr. Chair. At our last year, I think it was in November or December, I had actually contacted the one that takes the bookings, invited her to this hui, because there has been a number of queries coming from the community, and especially from Union. We have been talking, so I actually got in touch with her, and she was going to come but did not arrive at our hui. So I just wanted to just to say through you, Mr. Chair, that we have tried as a community board to actually address the issues and actually ask these questions about affordability, accessibility. But that's where that was, and I think we had discussed that was going to be taken to the next level after that. So that's where that was at, and that was at our last hui. Just to refresh our memories. Kia ora.
Okay, I just need to check something here. I wasn't sure with the public forum whether I was under the impression that people came, they had their corridor there, and we would take it under advisement. We didn't actually discuss it right now, but we took it into general business with ourselves. So generally the rule was that we couldn't give you answers now as we had to take it into discussion. I'm not sure if that's
So Lynn and Kelly, thank you very much for your presentation. As Dave said, that is a work, and Hanga said, this is a work in progress. We acknowledge your concerns, and from here, we're going to do some hard work. Kia ora. Jeanette Fitzsimon. Jeanette here for the walking track? No, sorry.
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, she's unwell.
Okay.
She contacted it, but she would like to be put on the agenda for the next community meeting.
Thank you. I'll say I just want to acknowledge that this part of the community board meetings are going to be important to us as board members. This is how we'll get your feedback, okay? And particularly me as a new chair. I've been stuck over there in Aotea for too long, and I've got to get my head around the Kāwhia issues. And this is one way that you can all help me out. Help you, because we're all friends here, eh? We're not your enemies, we try and do good things for you, okay? Kia ora. Just the minutes of the previous meeting. They've all been read. Can I move that they, we've got a seconder, that they be taken as read?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I'll second.
Okay. All those in favour? All those against? Carried. Thank you. Anything arising from those minutes? They were very short minutes. No. Just moving on to item 7, which is setting the Kāwhia Community Board meeting dates. Have all board members read those dates? August, basically the first Thursday in March, then moves to Wednesday due to Good Friday and Easter. Basically the first Thursday in every month, barring all sorts of things, but I'll do my best to make sure that we'll stick to those. So we'll move that those dates be accepted. I'll move that. Is there a seconder? Dave seconds that. Yeah. All those in favour? Against? Carried. Yeah. And moving on to the information only reports. Item 8 is the Kāwhia and Aotea concept plans. What have I done?
Elected members' allowances.
Sorry?
It's the elected members' allowances and members.
At least Jeff can't miss this one.
I've got item 8 as Kāwhia and Aotea concept plans.
You have too.
Oh, it's wrong. I should be watching the TV, not reading the words. No, moving on to item 8, which is not my item 8. Okay. It's the elected members' allowances and reimbursements policy, which is our pay, basically. There we are. Have you all taken and read that document?
Yes.
Any questions on it?
No, the only comment I'd have, Mr. Chairman, would be for community boards to make themselves familiar with their entitlements. And on page 4 of the actual policy document itself, there's a box there that says community board members. Just draw your attention to those entitlements so that you... Yep, okay.
Oh, Tanya, would you like to speak to it?
Other than my grandmother who was the author of this report, couldn't make it today, so I am here to answer any questions. Councillor Jeffrey, sorry, helpfully pointed out the very section of the report that I was going to.
Apologies, I didn't mean to.
Yeah, just to make you aware of the allowances that you are entitled to, and also reimbursement for mileage should you come in for council workshops or attend tours across the Lohiel region. And if you're in any doubt about what you're entitled to, then please make contact with Graham. He's only too happy to provide that clarification. Alright, so happy to take any questions if there are any.
Thank you, Tanya. I'll move that that report be accepted. Seconder? Yep. All those in favour? Against? Carried. The next item, the next report is the Kāwhia Aotea Concept Plan project update. Have all board members had the chance to read that report? The staff recommendation is that the Community Board receive the report titled Kāwhia Aotea Concept Plan Project Update, and together we accept it.
Ross will speak to the
Sorry?
Ross.
Oh, Ross wants to speak. Oh, there he is.
Kia ora, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, board members. So while this report is entitled an update, I thought I'd take the opportunity to treat it more like an omnibus. And the reason I do that is that due to your December meeting not going ahead, there were some reports and attachments that came forward around the concept plan project. And I've made reference to those in the update, and hopefully you've had the opportunity to look at those reports. They set out the context, the scope, the process, and the general time frame for completing the concept plan. So in those documents included the outline project plan, terms of reference for establishing a community advisory group. So that would be a group drawn from the project area, which is the area overseen by the Kāwhia Community Board. That is representative of the diversity and makeup of the community. So if you like, it's a touchstone group that could help provide feedback as we go through the process, in addition to the engagement that will take place with the wider community and stakeholders. So we had this group in place for the Otahonga Town Concept Plan project, and that worked quite well. So it wasn't instead of or in lieu of community engagement and feedback, it was well. As we outlined in the report, we're in the process of appointing consultants to assist with the project. So we're expecting to receive proposals for this concept plan project and the rural areas concept plan project, which will run in parallel. So we're doing two concept plan projects concurrently. Those are due with me next week, and we'll be looking at an evaluation process involving representatives from this board, from council elected members, his worship, and a rural community councillor, rural ward councillor, plus we're representatives and some staff representatives. So I'm anticipating that the result of that process will see us with a preferred consultant by the end of the month, and Ms. Winters, Chief Executive, who has delegated authority, will sign off the appointment on the basis of a recommendation from the evaluation panel. So all going well, by the time you meet again at the next meeting in early March, I'm hopeful that we will have had an appointment made. If not, we'll be very close to that. The other point, Mr. Chair, that I'd just like to make is the communications and engagement component, which is really central to the success of the concept plan project. So it's good to hear today that there's some ideas already percolating in the community, and no doubt there'll be lots and lots of others. So I've set out in the update some ideas around the different avenues and channels that we'll be using to get out to the community and provide opportunities for feedback. So this is, while there are, you'll see from the project plan, some particular phases of engagement, we're not limiting the opportunity for the community to provide ideas and thoughts into the process. And as you've said, Mr. Chair, the public forum here at the board meetings is a good example of one avenue. So that's a bit of a potted summary of where we're currently at, the process that's unfolding over the next month or so. And I'm happy to take any questions that may be either on this report or the reports and attached information that went through to the boards, just on the board's December agenda.
Thank you, Ross. Clear? Nothing?
No, just a point of clarification. Ross, can you just, for the benefit of the public today, we're not starting this with a blank sheet of paper, are we?
We've got the existing community plans for both this area and the rural areas of the district.
Yep.
So that information will form the basis of this already made information input into the process.
How are these plans that you've got the existing?
So these were developed in the early 2000s, so they're about 20 years old now. There's certainly been elements, as far as I'm aware, elements of those plans that have been implemented, and there are probably other elements perhaps that haven't yet, and with some fresh eyes over it may well form the basis of an updated plan, and other things that perhaps are no longer relevant as the world's moved on. So this process doesn't, certainly from my perspective, we're not coming at it with any preconceived ideas, and the success of this plan will be what the community are able to bring to the table. You know, what are the things that they believe are important, things that they believe need to be considered.
Through you, Mr. Chair, you'll see in item 3.5, Ross mentions the 3 consultants who were shortlisted for the Otaronga Town Concept Plan. We drew a very high calibre of consultants for that project. Perhaps Ross might want to just elaborate on that. That some well-known consultancy firms put their hats in the ring for that job.
Yes, so for the Otaronga Plan, we had 9 proposals, and all of the major consulting firms with experience in spatial planning, community planning, had submitted proposals. So as a result of that process, we then whittled that down through an evaluation to 3, the top 3 if you like, and it's those top 3 that have been invited to submit proposals for these projects.
Yes, just picking up on Ross's comment, particularly the Kāwhia plan was last reviewed, as I understand, about 2003, so about 20 years ago. So it's well overdue. And I would just like to emphasise, Mr. Chairman, the importance of the community taking advantage of the opportunity that's being presented to them to have some input into where we're going from here. So I think that message needs to be quite clearly espoused out there, and it's an opportunity that's only come around once in 20 years, if we can use that. So yeah, I'd certainly encourage people to take notice of it.
And can I add, Mr. Chair, that often, and I've been in planning and local government for a wee while now, that there's a tendency to develop plans and they either move forward or they don't move forward. I think it's clear from the last council's commitment not only to undertake the development of these plans, but also to commit resourcing to support their implementation as a sign that, you know, the council is ready to pull these important plans together and work with the community to make real change, make real things happen in our communities across the whole district.
Through the chairman, some speaking rights. Thank you. Yeah, I just want to reiterate what Ross has said. I mean, the whole idea of the rural and the community concept plans are about engagement with the community. So everybody in this room is value going up there and saying, hey, this is your one opportunity now, spending this training to talk to your partner, talk to your neighbours, talk to your friends, say, this is for you to build what you want to see for the future of Kāwhia. So we don't want to be sitting here in 4 years' time going, hey, we didn't have the opportunity here, we had the chance. This is it now. And you can create the future because it should not be. You know, council is representing the community. And this is, we want the community voice to come forward. And you can sit here proudly in a few years' time going, hey, the council gave us the chance, we spoke, we said this is the priorities that we want to implement for our community going forward. And the council, put the weight behind it and actually implemented a lot of those programs. I was talking to Ross yesterday about where are we on the implementation of those programs in Aotearoa with our concept plan. And we talked about those low-hanging fruit. You can actually get those, it sounds really appreciate the quick wins to begin with, but it really is the case that you build on the bigger programs going forward. So yeah, just put it out there to the community. This is really, really important. We make the most of this.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffries and Mayor Baxter, Mayor Max, and to our other board members, please, this is not going to be a report for a report's sake. I feel that the next 3 years is going to be a very, very important time for Kāwhia and Aotearoa, and there's a new energy with the Otaronga District Council and with that the extra money that's been poured into the kitty through the better off budget, and there's quite a bit there to spend, including the proposed seawall maintenance between Omiri Reserve and the boat ramp. So there's some money to be spent in Kāwhia, but it'll all be based around the feedback that we get from the community. So thank you for that. So we have to move that. That's just a report. Board members, I'll just move that report be accepted. Is there a seconder? Board member Walsh. All those in favour? Aye, against? Carried. What have we got to now? We've got no general business in here.
Resolution register.
General business now. I'll do some.
There's a recommendation on this one, Jeff.
Do we have to do that before general business?
Sorry?
Do we do that before general business?
Yeah.
Okay. Just before we move on to general business, there's a resolution register. Of all board members read that. Basically, it's a tidy up of all the resolutions that have.
Excuse me, Kāwhia, do you want to explain the purpose of this?
Yep. So the resolution register that is presented in the agenda outlines the main resolutions that were made in the last triennium. The board have asked for this to be presented on every agenda of the ones that are outstanding. So as you can see in the staff updates, we've provided updates, but also indicated which ones we'd like to remove from the agenda because we consider them to be closed. So the resolution is asking that you receive the updates, which will naturally remove the ones that have been indicated.
Good?
Yeah.
I'll move that the start recommendation be accepted. All those in favour?
Yep.
Second? Okay. All those in favour? Aye. All against? Carried.
Mr Chair, if I may, I'd just like to speak to Resolution 1, just to give you a bit of background about what's going on there. I know the issues around the usage of the Kāwhia Wharf and the charging for that facility have been a bone of contention with members of the community. So what Council Management are proposing is that you can't really address the problem unless you know the quantum of the issue. So the idea is that we get an asset management plan so that we get an idea of the current state of the structure, and we get an idea around costs for maintaining the structure going forward, and maybe ultimately a cost to replace the structure sometime in the future when it is no longer serviceable. So we're in a good space here. We've run a series of regular structural reviews of the wharf by Tonkin Taylor. So the plan is that we will receive an update from Tonkin Taylor with probably an addendum on that, which adds a bit of dollars to some of their projections and their forecasts for the work that's required on the wharf in the future. So then we'll have a picture of where the wharf's at, we'll have a picture of the cost that the council is going to bear into the future to keep the wharf functioning, and then once you have those, you then can start saying, well, where does this cost lie? Are we looking at the users to pay some of it? Is the council going to pay some of it? Is there a community good? Is there a user benefit? So I hope that gives you some idea of where we're working to with the wharf.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, Andrew, would there be a timeline associated with this? I mean, is it intended to, you're talking about creating another asset management plan for the wharf,
yep.
But is that going to form part of our LTP process? Or
it's hoping to use that information to tie it into the concept plan.
Excellent.
So we want to be able to use the concept plan process to have this discussion with the whole community about the wharf, its usage, its future, and where people see the cost lying for that structure into the future.
That's great, thank you.
Moving on. What was missing from our agenda was Chair's report and board members' report. There have been some changes at ODC and Otaronga Community Board, but I thought we'd discuss it before we took this out of the agenda. So just briefly in terms of the Chair's report, I'd just like to start off by acknowledging Edith Dockery, a stalwart of the Kāwhia community, and she passed away late last year. She was a great member of the Kāwhia Community Board and a great chair. The Dockery family is an important part of Kāwhia, and it's sad to see a stalwart of the community pass like that. We've lost too many last year, haven't we? Councillor Jeffries. Yep. And I'd just like to acknowledge Dave again for your support, Council Board Member Dave, and acknowledge the members of the public that have turned up here today, and Mayor Jeff, Mayor Max. Just in terms of what I've been busy, I had looked at what Mayor Max did in his reports and his chair report, but so I won't bore you with the things I've been doing. I understand, but it's I've had a good start to my chair in terms of the meetings that I've attended. I did a brief catch up with Tainui Kāwhia Incorporated for access to the beach. Represented Mayor Max at the Kāwhia school prize giving, minus my chains. They were promised to me, weren't they? Okay, over there, Dave. And also just like to acknowledge, you know, with the floods that have happened over the last month or so out here, just like to acknowledge the Kāwhia Fire Brigade that have done all their hard work over there, the hard May, but more importantly is the Otaronga District Council and their contractors that have come out here and kept our roads to Aotea clear, and the Kāwhia didn't get hit too hard, but certainly Aotea did over that period, and they've made the Morrison Road a priority road, and it gets cleared fairly quickly. I don't think people realise just how quickly that everything gets cleaned up around this place. You've got a great contractor there with Infomax, and just like to acknowledge too Hinga, Board Member Hinga, for that beautiful picture frame that's out there. It's, I saw a lot of people taking photos of that. It's a great addition, so it's given me some ideas for our little piece of paradise over there. And yeah, and I'm just saying I'm looking forward to the next trimester representing Kāwhia. It's a positive town. We had a good Christmas. There wasn't too much trouble over Christmas. I read the email that Board Member Hinga a few gave, and I understand and acknowledge those issues there, but I'm sure we're going to make some movement there. I'm not too sure, but we had horses in Aotea too, but I don't think they were the same group. Yeah, I'm just saying, as I said, I'm looking forward to the next 3 years. Positive. Moving on to Board Member Walsh, do you want a quick report? This has been taken out of the agenda, but I'll slip it in until we have a discussion.
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Report, just more general business.
Yeah. Yeah. Board member Hugh?
O tēnā koe, Te Tiamana. I just to follow up on your kōrero, for the photo frame, that was really an exciting project that I had worked on. And with Andrew and the crew, we met out here and just before Christmas, I think it was the week going into Christmas. And it's been used heaps, so that was awesome. And it's awesome to see the picture frame on our socials as well. And also with whānau that came to Kāwhia, and just to have their Kāwhia moana and the design and the beautiful moana at the back, and also with some of the pūtakawa, depending on which angle you stand in. So that was an exciting project. So kia ora for this, the tautoko the poari nei, and kia koe hoki, Andrew, I really appreciate all your support. We did a lot of emailing throughout the year. It was a process, but we got there. Nō reira, tēnā tātou. The next kaupapa I just wanted to talk about is that Hinga has been working hard with the Tainui Games. A lot of our marae in Kāwhia Moana and also in Te Kuiti area are involved in our Tainui Games, and we have at present 57 marae that have registered. So we just finished having the weekend just previous with the surfing at Whaingaroa Raglan, and at Turanga Waiwai we had the indoor bowls and the whai kingi chess, and also the golf at the Ngaruawahia Golf Club. So that was an awesome weekend, and on the 11th and 12th we have the Hopu Hopu Games, which is everything to everything, and I've got posters here that I'd like to share. So it's an awesome event. In 2020 was our last event. We had 38,000 tribal whānau come back, and this was just before the COVID had hit back in 2020 in February. So it's been a long time, those 3 years. So our theme is Kia niha te whatu manawa, he karama tangata. Let the passions of the games ignite. So reignite and bring our people together. So this is a real awesome, and it's, we have a lot of like flooding and everything happening around us, but it's also important to have, to see happy faces and do happy things as well. And through our games, there's a real big competition between our people. So I just wanted to bring that one up. Also, I did want to bring up the email about, but I'll leave that at the moment. And I just wanted to acknowledge Ken Briggs as well. Ken Briggs was our member, but he had to resign due to illness. But I got to know Ken for one term, so I'd just like to acknowledge Ken. And it would be nice if we did send a card or something to Ken, just to say thank you for the time and the input that he had here. He was also our deputy chair. Nō reira, tēnā tātou. Lovely to see everybody there. And also, I just want to say thank you also to Jared. I got in contact with Jared just a couple of weeks ago because with the movement kaupapa that's happening this Saturday, we had no basketball hoop. So Jared got the team together and put the basketball hoop up there, because I know then there is a 3-on-3 or 1-on-1 competition happening this Saturday. And so yeah, I just want to thank Jared, and I did send Jared an email to thank him. And I know the hoop will be used not only for the Saturday event, but it will be used for the future, for the rest of the year as well. But I always find that by the end of the year, this is the time that we need to just keep on renewing it. So that's something I'll just keep an eye on. Nō reira, tēnā tātou.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I did have something to the general business.
Just the general business, well, general business report. Thank you.
Just across, we've had good progress with the sports club. We've contracted an engineer who was here this morning, giving us the geotech. We've got our stormwater and septic systems. We're coming back to do a structural analysis, I suppose, of the existing concrete slab to see what we can use or what we have to do there. And we've also engaged New Vision Architecture from Te Awamutu, who were recommended to us by the Waikato Shed Company, who we're looking at basically putting a shell up for us and then going ahead from there. So we've had progress on the club, and we'll be putting an announcement on our page soon, just to let all our members know that things are starting to move.
Well done. Well done, Dave.
And the guy the other day I rang about, Andrew, he was actually from the insurance company. So he knows details about it before.
Looking positive then.
Yeah, all looking positive. Moving on.
Now, mixing up general business and reports.
Yes.
Councillor Jeffries, any general business?
Yes, I do, but I'd just like to talk about councillor update first, if you don't mind. It's been a while since that our board meeting, we've met as a board. So if you just bear with me, I'll just run through very quickly. On the 29th of November, I attended a meeting of Te Taio o Kāwhia Moana, and that group is in the process of putting together an incorporated society document, and also going to appoint some trustees, which will then allow them to go out and seek funding for the purpose of that. On the 1st of December, I attended a housing workshop and planning meeting in Aotearoa. I'm part of a small group there looking at housing initiatives for the Aotearoa district and how we can assist people who are living in substandard dwellings. On the 8th of December, there was a shared council-elected members induction event at the FMG Stadium in Hamilton, and on the 10th of December, another event, Future for Local Government, was held also at the stadium. Both of those were very well worth attending, and I think they got some pretty good feedback, particularly for the Future for Local Government. There's quite some good discussion on that. On the afternoon of that meeting, we had our risk and assurance meeting, the first one for the new triennium, and we approved the annual report for adoption for the council. The major issue from that report was the effect of the revaluation this year on infrastructural assets, particularly the three waters. They've gone up by something like $60 million in value. And because we have to fund the depreciation associated with that, it means that we're going to have to potentially look for additional funding for depreciation in the 23-24 year. However, we've got some plans in place to try and mitigate the effects of that. Okay. 14th of December, we had our last Aotearoa District Council meeting for the calendar year. And then on the 20th of December, you've mentioned, Mr Chairman, there was a meeting between the Aotearoa District Council and Tainui Kāwhia Corporation over the forest. There were a number of issues discussed at that meeting, including the alternative beach access. There were some concerns expressed by TKI about fire hazards and so on, which I don't think is a concern at the moment. Not with all the water we've had, and then also there was some discussion on how best to actually close Te Puia Road off in the event of a fire ban in that area, and so I think there's been some good discussion had there, and I think both parties came away from that meeting feeling that achieved something. Yep. And the only other one I went to was on the 2nd of January, the Aotea Ratepayers Society had their annual meeting, and I don't know whether you want to comment on that too, Mr Chairman, but I was asked to provide a brief update on the three waters, and which I did, just on where I believe we're at with that, and just to make a comment that the Ratepayers Society out there is doing a great job with weed and pest control initiatives out that way, with some financial assistance from the Regional Council. And I guess the other discussions were based pretty much around the seawall, the consent process and the maintenance, ongoing maintenance of the seawall there, the major storm event that happened in Aotea on the 25th of November, and the footpath on Horton Drive, which caused some debate, yes, and is not yet resolved, as I gather. So that one's been left to lie on the table. So that's pretty much just it from the councillor update for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Jeffrey. And I'd like to acknowledge your help too, Councillor Jeffries, in my transition from Chair Dave to Chair Jeff. So thank you. Now, with that was your general business as well?
No, I've got one or two.
Okay, moving on to general business then.
Yep. Okay, right, thank you. The first one, I just wanted to make comment, and the staff may already be aware of this, but the seawall as you come into town just past John Saple's place, I wonder whether the staff could go back and have another look at that. I think probably there's some concerns about the fact that is actually starting to worsen, the condition of that, and it's been, I think with the seas we've had, it might be being scoured out from underneath. So if you could have a look at that and just reassure us perhaps that things are okay or not, let us know what it is. And the other thing too is, I don't know whether you've noticed, but there seems to be a lot of ivy and blackberry growing up along as you come into town. The ivy in particular, I think, is climbing up into one or two of those Kāwhia trees, and I think one of them looks like it's always dead. And it could be one of the trees that we did look at one stage about taking out at one stage. But anyway, it could well be that there's some work needed there on that. Just picking up on your comment, Mr. Chairman, about the flooding and the slips and so on. Yes, I also want to just comment on the work that our emergency services, fire and ambulance and police do for us. You know, it's pretty much all voluntary, and I don't think they get the acknowledgement sometimes that they deserve. But I also like to mention too the linesmen who come out in the most atrocious weather and fix the power lines for us. And sometimes I sort of wonder whether they're in a health and safety situation up there, but perhaps just mention those guys as well. I had one or two conversations with Sergeant Jimmy Walker from the police, and he was pretty happy with the Kāwhia Aotea over Christmas, New Year. There didn't seem to be too many issues here, but it certainly made a difference seeing the police presence in town and having those patrol cars going around. And there's no doubt about it that if people see that the police are present, I think it does help sort of set the scene for what we want to do. So, I did a bit of a straw poll on whether or not, I did it on the Kāwhia Connection actually, Facebook, first time we've ever done that, so it was quite an interesting exercise, as to what people thought about introducing an electric vehicle charging station in Kāwhia. And I got quite a mixed response on this. But there were some good suggestions and some positive feedback included in those responses. And I'm thinking very seriously about asking for the inclusion of that in our concept plan for consideration, further consideration. I don't think that it's gone away yet, and I think there is a demand for it. I think a lot of the people who were opposed to it probably don't own electric vehicles anyway, so they had no use for it. So I can understand that. Yep. And also from Waipa Networks, Sean Horgan, who's the new Chief Executive, he's done a bit of work out this way with warmer Kiwi homes. I understand he's been out here and replaced or introduced a number of LED lights into some of the houses out here, and there's some work going on behind the scenes to assist local residents in making their houses more insulated and warmer for winter. And the only other comment I had, Mr. Chairman, was just in terms of CapEx, the 200,000 sand filter replacement has been completed at the water treatment station here. That work's been done. However, just flagging that the water main renewals for Tainui, Waiwera, Kāwhia, Kaiora, Amopo streets are still on the list of things to do. That's going to happen over the next 12 or 18 months. And there's going to be an expenditure there of approximately 700,000 on those upgrades, which may include some additional fire hydrants, which I understand the local fire brigade have flagged some concerns about the lack of and the maintenance of some of those hydrants. So that's it from me, thank you.
Just Mr. Chair, just one thing, a couple of years ago you brought up about the EV chargers there and coming in, and my recollection of that time was that you couldn't get a company interested, they were no one willing to come out and do one for us or price it?
That's still the case, David.
It's still the case?
Yes, it is, yes. However, I don't like to mention names, but I will in this case because he's made the offer. One of Boy Davis's boys, who lives in Sydney, his background is completely in this field, and he's offered all the advice and assistance that that we want, and he'll do that he'll do it for Kāwhia. Yeah. So there's a start anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Certainly, I agree with you, Councillor Jeffrey. It's well worth investigating. It's, if you could have some electrical vehicle charging here, you'd certainly attract the day trippers from Auckland and tie it in with the concept plan.
Yes.
Well worth investigating.
Well, I've always thought, Mr. Chairman, that if we can call it the Western tourism route or whatever you want to call it, but there is the road that runs from Raglan down through to Kāwhia, then out Harbour Road down to Marakopa, Tianga, and then right through to Arakena Mokia. There isn't a single charger or even a petrol station along that route, and I think there is a very good opportunity for us to maximise that opportunity.
Have we talked to Kāwhia Motors?
Yes. Now, I did talk about, because the ideal, for me, anyway, the ideal location is as you come into town, it's the area in front of the service station there. It's quite visible, it's right next to the petrol pumps, it's right next to the store. But the crunchy bit is, and I've sent an email off to Trish today, was just asking what the status of that land is, because the last time we looked at it, we understood that it may have been reclaimed land and may not even have a title. So we need to determine that before we even push on with the other. Yep.
Member Walsh,
General business time. Well, my first one is just informing different people. The hall is not run by the council. It's not really a contract either. What it is I think it's down to 3, maybe 4 locals now that form the hall committee, and they basically run the hall, but the money they make from the rental they put back into the building. They get so much a year from the council, but it is administered by locals, and it's a fair money scale. And that's the setup about the week. So it's not actually the council that dictates what goes on the hall, but it is the hall committee that got the pack. Probably need a bit more contact there, or we might need support about the company as well, very easy. Just say, but I thought it was $80, I didn't think it was $80 an hour, I thought it was just $80 was the cost.
It varies. It chops and changes.
Yeah, if you just hire the front half, it's probably
sometimes, yeah. You can set up.
Yeah, we're still on the full board meeting here. Okay. And so you're comfortable with this kind of discussion technique?
Yeah. No, we'll just leave it to the. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, another one I was thinking, we've had a lot of negative feedback on our speed humps here in town. Everyone thinks, why did we need 3? I tried telling him, well, that was the roading engineer. He said that we had to have the 3. So the one on Main Street is a complete waste of time. The one on Junior Street, and we really need 2. And when you look at LT got these in for 3,500, thinking ours cost 54. There's quite a bit of a discrepancy there.
Have you seen old tears?
Well,
only about that wide.
That's just what I say. So a lot of people have commenting that they want someone taken out or whatever. I'm not sure what the situation is if that was the voting rules. Just another one here I've got is, and it's a bit more out of our community board area, but probably one more for you, Kip, is all the bikes on the fence at Oakround, at Will Rogers. They're all looking tacky and rusted and falling off the fence. Do you think maybe we could have someone go and talk to them about whether they remove them or even spray over them like they used to? Because it's just you know, weeds are growing up through the bikes, the rusted half hanging off, wheels missing. It just looks crazy. Okay, the other one is, I rang Andrew at one time in the holidays here, and this has been going consistently, and it's a health and safety issue concerning the wharf. Our new contractors for the Margaret Jones drive on there with cranes, swinging around the trucks. There's no cones, there's no safety, there's no notices, there's nothing, you know. We own the wharf. Anything happens, we're in trouble, not just them. So, you know, I think somehow I talked to Andrew about it. I did try to contact health and safety over the holidays, but they were all out at the time, and I haven't tried again. But, I'm not sure how we approach that. I sort of said to them, come on guys, you know you need to have cones here. You've got kids walking around the wharf and your crane, things swinging around, and the truck's backed up there, and he's picking things up and swinging it around. I see everybody that was on the wharf at the time, families, this was in the middle of the holidays, they all took off down to the pontoon. But, you know, should there be notifications or something saying this is going to happen? Or I'm not sure how I know the last crowd that were doing it would put the cones out, just to let people be aware. But I did think it was a health and safety issue that we need to get on top of. Another little one that I've been approached by locals and they're not happy with is at Kāwhia with there by the Triangle Beach. Is a lot of the residents up the top there tend to mow their lawns and come over and tip all their clippings over the bank. And it's a bit disrespectful for the area, really, and just not on, but I'm not sure what approach we can take on that. Will we put something on the Facebook page or the council page or something so this is not acceptable behaviour? Just something for us to think about later.
Could a sign be put up? Could we put a sign up there?
Very terrible, and I'm not impressed by all this issue that happened at your friend had to go here. But the only, I'm assuming myself, just as what I said in other places, that it may have something to do with, and I'm not sure if anyone knows can help, but I see a lot of young guys from Kāwhia come through on their horses all the time, so they seem to be the ones been here more than once, so you know, we sort of line up that maybe it's something to do with them. I'm not sure how we would follow that up, or the police may follow it up. But I think just to make us aware that it could possibly be from those young ones here. Just one more. There's, I'm just wondering when we get it's probably more for Ross, but I'll just get to put it through you, Mr. Chair, at the moment. We get a report on what's happening with our sewage system investigation. You know, it was conducted last year. Thought we would have had a report back to the board by now of what they found or what the things were. So can we include that in our next meeting, please?
I'll have a look at that. Board member David.
Thank you. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Well, tēnā koe, Tiamana. I've just got one, just to follow up on the hall. I am a hall member on the committee. I had approached the secretary for us to have a hui, and that hasn't happened. I was declined on what I had asked for. We have not met for the last about 5 years, and I am also in mind that something does need to be done with the hall, and I just wanted so this is minuted,